So before we start, you can skip ahead to all the different fights if you want to see the showcase before the build overview. All the timestamps are in the description down below, and then you can come back. That's also in the timestamps. All right, let's get started. I want to do this quickly, so I'm going to answer all the questions I get for all my builds as quickly as I can. Kill all the bandits. Kill all the bandits. For the Pantheon, I'm using Brine King, and I'm using Tukahama. Now, Brine King you don't need if you're using Comb's Roots, but you lose out on some links. We're already a little bit short on links as is, and I haven't actually ever died to stun with this on, so I'm using it, but you can use Comb's Roots if you want some more life. It's up to you. Tukahama is really nice because I like face tanking, and I'm very bad at moving around and whirling into death, so I try to stay stationary as much as possible, and this is fantastic. It just makes you way tankier. So the Path of Building pastebin links are in the description down below. There's two versions of them. One is the budget version, which is everything you're seeing in this video right now. That's on the budget version, the whole video. And that's all you really need. And there's like an endgame version, like you can do endgame on the budget version, but it just makes it smoother. And I just put more currency into it as I got better stuff, so. But this is gonna focus on the budget version, this video. But the budget version, 3 key items. BloodSeeker, because we don't have Valpact, so BloodSeeker. Bringer of Rain, because easy way to get links. And a Stat Stick. Now, normally, for a Stat Stick, you would use, like, Death's Hand, but it was very expensive early in the league, and the Shaper items are disgusting, so you don't even need it. Now, the 2 Shaper rolls you're looking for are gain a percentage of your physical damage as extra fire damage, and the enemies killed explode. That one mod, the night and day difference on your clear speed. It's so fast when you have that mod. Like, we're saying sub 3 minute Minotaur runs, full Minotaur runs. It's fast. And then you just want to fill out life, any physical damage you can get, resists, and some accuracy if you can get it. That's pretty much it for gearing. For flasks, you want a diamond flask, Series Promise, and a silver flask for Onslaught. That's pretty much it, honestly. So I'm just going to get into the showcase because I don't want to waste your time. So some of the audio didn't make it through for whatever reason, so you have the Tristram song in my voice right now to go along with it. The Elder fights were really easy. The Guardians, I face tanked pretty much everything, so I don't really know actually what their mechanics are. But I know for this guy you want to dodge his hammers, and he has some flying sword thing in the 3rd phase, but I didn't really get to see it because I killed him before it happened. But I imagine you can face tank through it. This is the only one of the Guardians that was on a yellow map. The rest of them were on red. So this Guardian and everyone afterwards were on red maps. This is the poison one. He was pretty easy too. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what half the stuff he does is. I just face tanked almost everything. He has a split phase, and I just face tanked through that too. Honestly, just kill them. Like, I don't know. They were all pretty easy. And this was, I guess, as hard as they get because it's on a red map, so just face tank through. Honestly, pretty much the same thing with the fire guy too, so I just want to talk instead. Like, this is a pretty long video. It's like 20 minutes, the longest one I've made by far. I was going to speed up the fights because they are kind of long, but I figured it's better if you show the full fight, so you can skip ahead to whatever you want to see and skip what you don't, or just go back to the build overview. This is just here for people who do want to see all the Elder fights, who do want to see the full thing and how it performs. It's here. Yeah. The lightning one is, I think, certainly the hardest one. It's not hard, I face tanked everything anyways, but he has a phase where he's invulnerable. It's the longest one, for sure. He has a phase that he just kind of turns into some tentacle beast and flies around, and you just really gotta wait that out and dodge a bit. It's not very hard. And once that's done, just honestly jump in and face tank him again, and he goes down too. Yeah, none of them gave me any trouble at all, so you'll be absolutely fine with this build. On any of them, I guess, because the red maps are the hardest version, and, you know, those are pretty easy, so. So the Elder fight is weird. There seems to be a lot of moves that aren't really well choreographed. Maybe I'm just not seeing something, but it's a little bit, you know, when you're fighting Shaper, you know pretty much everything that's going to happen, but with the Elder, that's not necessarily true. I died twice during this fight. This is a Red Elder fight, and it was to the same move. The second time was my fault. I whirled back in as he smacked the ground, but the first time, I just don't know, like, he has some weird shit that goes on, and I feel like there's a couple of other times I should have died that I just dodged, like he would stop me in place and then slam the ground, but I haven't figured out how to dodge that. I don't know if you can dodge that. I whirl around and I still get frozen in place, so I'm not entirely sure, but as a whole, it's pretty easy. You do a lot of damage, you can get him down really quickly. It's just, I'm not entirely sure how he works, to be honest. I haven't done him again since. I didn't really enjoy the fight, so I haven't done him since. But, you know, I'm sure it's something that I'm just missing, so if you figure it out, you're gonna have a fine time. This phase is extremely boring to both play and watch, so I have sped it up 200%, and it's still pretty long. You literally just fight those void portals while Shaper does some shit on 4 different. It's a very, very long phase. It's too long, and it's just the same thing over and over again. Nothing really changes, so it's yeah, I don't know. So I sped it up, and I have nothing much really to say about it. Just fight the portals. It's very easy for like fucking like 5 minutes. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Coming up is my second death. I only had 2 deaths, and it was to the exact same move. It's like a big slam, but it's telegraphed like a boop. He like kind of just come and just boop, and you die. It's not like the powerful charge up that Shaper or Vol or Dominus or someone like them have. So just watch out for that, I guess. It's not very impactful. Now I did want to showcase a little bit of clear speed. This full video is going to be posted, well, it's probably posted now, but this is just a showcase of how quick it can be. This is part of the Minotaur run that was sub 3 minutes for the full thing, including a breach, so it was really fast. Minotaur himself, I literally just face tanked through. There's a couple of mods you want to watch out for that you probably can't face tank through, and he like adds damage, stuff like that. You just want to dodge his slam. It's still really easy, but for the mods that are on screen, I literally just face tanked. I didn't want to have 2 of those circles up when he slammed, so I whirled away from that, but other than that, honestly, that was it. This fight took under a minute. Hydra, I think, is actually the easiest of the Guardians. It takes quite a while. I think Chimera is the longest, but Hydra is definitely second. But once you just start dodging the balls, like all of her moves are very telegraphed, so it's very simple to dodge them. It's just long because she goes into all these different phases, and yeah, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just dodge and hit, and you're fine. You can face tank all of, pretty much, other than her charge up shot. I haven't tried that, but I wouldn't face tank that. But you can face tank her multi-shot or her shoot to the sky thing. That's no problem, so you can do that if you want. And yeah, that's honestly all I have to say about Hydra. And now we have volume back, so at least there's, because I don't have a whole lot to say about this either. It's pretty easy. You can face tank everything Chimera does himself. As long as you're hitting, you can face tank everything his minions do. Just go through the phases, and the smoke phase is really easy too, because you have whirling blades. Just use a life flask after he hits you once, and I haven't come close to dying from the smoke phase, so it's fairly simple. Yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly, for Chimera. This is the longest fight, so you can skip ahead if you know how it ends. It's literally pretty straightforward, but it's here if you want to see it. So I'll see you at the next one. So the Phoenix fight is my least favorite of all the fights, and you'll see I'm running like just a shitty blue map because I hate fighting Phoenix. I hate his birds, the whirlwinds, the cyclones, everything's very random, and I rely on like leeching to take him down. So when the birds are hitting me, they can one-shot you if they kind of gang up on you, if there's multiple projectiles, stuff like that. So Phoenix is definitely, I think, the hardest boss for this build. In terms of the Guardians, you can still do him deathless even with rare maps. There's so much to take into account, so much to just watch out for, and I don't have the patience for that. So I tend to just run him on fairly easy maps. Also, like I always, whenever I make it rare, I get minus max res, which is just a death sentence for Phoenix. So yeah, I ran it blue, which is shitty, but whatever. It gets the job done. So I skipped all the Shaper, like the mini bosses before him, honestly, because this is already a fucking 20-minute video, which is way longer than I wanted it to be, but it's supposed to be a highlight video, and it is. It's just showing the boss fights, but they're long, so it's long, and I didn't want to make it any longer. The fights before Shaper are pretty straightforward, really easy, so you can just figure that out. Yeah, Shaper himself is fairly straightforward as well. You can face tank through the beam. You can face tank even if you're standing on the ice thing and he has a beam. I wouldn't face tank the balls. You can, it's just you might die if you crit. So skip through the portal phases because they're pretty boring to watch, so and just try and save some time because it's already very long. Shaper's mini-boss is when he sends you into the thing. You just want to make sure you have your freeze flask up. For me, that's my Quicksilver. It can be your life flask, whatever. You just want to make sure you're good when you have like 3 charges of flask to take him down. You don't want to be frozen, especially on the second form. when he shoots out like the whole bunch of balls at a time, because that can kill you if you get frozen very easily. But I haven't really died to it in a long time. You just need to make sure to use your freeze flask. Now, you might have seen a GIF on the subreddit of a guy whirling into Shaper's balls, and that was me. And I have learned nothing from my time, and I whirl right into them pretty much every time I do Shaper, at least once. So, learn from me. Don't whirl. Just don't use whirling blades out of that. You have time. The beam doesn't do nearly as much damage as it looks like it does. You can kind of just walk away from it, even if you take half your health as damage. So don't whirl out of it. It's just not a good idea. Other than that, the second phase is, again, pretty straightforward. It's just hammer him down, and yeah, that's it. I don't have a whole lot more to say about the Shaper fight. It's something you kind of learn as you do it. The first couple of times is going to be rough, but you'll get the hang of it. And it's a really easy build to do Shaper on, so it works out nice. Shaper is inherently a DPS race. The longer the fight goes on, the more shitty it gets, the more likely you're going to die, so you need to have a certain level of DPS, and this build with the items that you have is going to do it, so that's fine. The third form of Shaper, he makes a clone of himself. That's really the only addition, and that's fine. You can face tank everything the clone does, even the beam. You just don't, if he's using the balls, throwing the balls, just don't try to hit Shaper during that time. Just whirl around, make sure you survive. That's really the only like threatening thing that he can do. So yeah, other than that, again, same deal. Just time it, hit him, kill him, and that's it. Get your currency. So this is not the most original idea in the world. You know, it's not using some crazy mechanics that have never been thought of before, or some funky stuff going on. It's using Blade Flurry, is one of the most popular skills in the game, using a Bringer of Rain, which is a very popular item for budget builds. The thing about Bringer of Rain builds, though, is they tend to max out at a DPS level that's not Shaper viable, that's not like super endgame viable, at least not without significant currency investment. So this takes the budget that a Bringer of Rain build would normally allow you to start with and carries it all the way to the end of the game on that same budget, while still having a high life pool, still being tanky. That's what this build excels at. And I think that the people that would really enjoy this are the people that don't necessarily have the time to get to the super endgame, right? The people who haven't experienced Shaper. I have a friend who's playing this build right now who's killed Shaper for the first time, and now we can farm him. Something that he hasn't done before, because the builds he's played, or the builds my other friends have played, don't allow you to do that without significant investment. And a lot of people don't have the time for that. A lot of people haven't even gotten to maps that I know. Or they just got to maps and they quit because they were playing a build and the build stopped doing damage. Why? Not because the build's bad, but because it requires you to kind of know what you need to upgrade to continue past a certain point. And this build doesn't do that. This build with these very basic items can take you all the way through to the end. And then when someone truly experiences Path of Exile, experiences everything it has to offer, experiences Zeri for the first time, Shaper for the first time, the Pale Council, the Uber Lab, all of that stuff, then you got them hooked. And then they'll learn about the game, and then they'll want to make their own build. It'll be god-awful. But then the next one won't. The next one will be a bit better. And that's my hope with this build. So that's, that's it. That's my one build for the League. My one video for the League, as I tend to do. I'd love to make more. But we, I've been working on a VR game with a couple of friends, and we're working more than full time now, so time is a bit short. Yeah, if you're interested, if you have a Vive or an Oculus, you could see the trailer on my channel. If not, then that's fine too. Yeah, that's it. I guess I will see you in BoR.